Get ready, everyone, and you just might survive. Ruben and Jason are here with their X-Men deep dive. Going through all the X-books is their mission, so get ready for the Learned Edition. Things are getting weird in here. Ruben hopes another sword book gets announced this year. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind.
Welcome, all you weirdos, temporary fill-in storm gods, and everyone who has ever died while pretending to be Professor X. It is time to receive your 161st Weird Dose of X, the mutant member of your Weird Science podcast family. I am your zebra-striped host, Jason, broadcasting as always from the Wrong Turn studio, perched high atop stately Weird Science Tower. And speaking to us today is a guy who's even more of a blabbermouth than Gateway. It's my pal Ruben. Hey, Ruben, how the heck are you?
Good. I was going to be insulted, but then I realized Gateway doesn't talk.
That was kind of the shtick. Well, he does talk in one of this week's issues, which is why I thought it was relevant to mention.
Yeah.
So we have no particular news this week other than, hey, Gateway talks. The only notable item from Tom Brevoort's blog this weekend was him dodging a direct question about, hey, how long is the Age of Revelation going to be? He just says it'll last as long as it lasts, which is, probably the answer he should be giving if he's going to, face the question at all, but I'm still kind of curious. We know it lasts at least 2 months.
Why do you think that's the right answer for that?
Well, because I think it's probably better from a sales marketing point of view for it to be, well, this is the way the world is now. Like originally, the Age of Apocalypse, that's how it was presented. Now, this is before really the internet was so much of a thing, before you could look ahead in solicits and see how long things were going to be. From that point of view, Age of Apocalypse, the books all just, you showed up at your comic book shop and the books had just changed. And as far as you knew, this is reality now. So I think they're trying to recreate that idea, although in 2025, you can't quite. Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
This is the way the world is now until, of course, it isn't.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I was just wondering if it was like, I don't want to let you know how much we're asking you to pay for this.
That would be the cynical view of things. Although, I mean, these aren't additional books. I know some people were talking about, there's so many more books they're adding. These books there are like 16, I'm going to say ongoings or mini-series or multi-issue series, but they're replacing basically 16 existing books. So it's kind of like they're renaming old books into new books. So it's not really adding, it's doing something different.
Yeah. Well, I need something different. I'm not liking what's going on these days.
Yeah, I think that's what has us excited. Some of the books are kind of, as we say, marking time until the event happens. Storm isn't. Storm is certainly surging far ahead. I'm not quite sure I understand it, but it's not holding back. We'll get to that for sure. The books we're going to talk about today, we're going to start off with Uncannny X-Men number 19. Then we'll go into Storm number 11. And then we'll finish up with good old Hellverine number 9. But first, Ruben, hey, the Infinity comic is here this week. It didn't show up at the usual time. Did you try to read it last night?
Not last night. I read it on the way into work today.
I was up late last night doing notes and things, and at like 2 a.m. my time, it still hadn't posted. So this morning I thought, maybe they're going to skip a week again, but nope, it is here. So let's get into it, and the ding sound is, there it is.
I was busy yesterday playing pickleball with the family. I'm getting ready for my showdown with Matt Razor.
Priorities. You playing Eye of the Tiger and punching sides of beef and getting all worked up?
Yep, exactly. Actually got sunburned. My face is like beet red today, which kind of sucks. That does not happen out here very often.
I was out kayaking with my younger daughter yesterday, which was nice. We went out, saw some nice birds, saw some fish and some sea life. It was a good time. So I don't think I'm quite sunburned. I tend to slather on the sunscreen pretty heavy, but I can see how if you're not used to the actual sun existing in the sky, like Pacific Northwesters might be.
It's pretty wild. My wife's like, give me a lot of shit for it. And I was like, I put on sunscreen. Like, I feel like I need to get some credit for that, but apparently it wasn't enough.
Oh, well. Well, let's see if we can give some credit to this creative team of Astonishing X-Men Infinity Comic number 32, A Change of Heart, Part 1. It is written by Tim Seeley with art by Eduardo Ordino, so we flip back to that creative team. Colors by KJ Diaz and letters, as always, by Clayton Coles. Now, Ruben, we knew from the preview, but that one panel black and white preview we get, that this new arc would involve Black Tom Cassidy, who was arrested following the events of a previous arc of this title. A bit disappointingly, he doesn't much figure into the events of this chapter. What did you think of the choice to have it be Banshee telling Black Tom a story over the phone?
I mean, it's nice to see Black Tom, but it's not what I was hoping for. And actually, it's hard to understand their relationship. I mean, I've seen this on and off over the years where they're kind of family, but like,
yeah, they are cousins.
She's always kind of always talking trash to him. But I was like, I don't know. Do you really tell your criminal relative that they're never going to be anything but like a dirtbag? It's basically what Sean says to him over the phone.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting relationship because they're both Cassidys, they're cousins. They both started off as villains. They both wound up kind of on the good guy, more or less, and some more, some less on the good guy side. Black Tom certainly less than Banshee. Banshee's very much established as a hero, policeman type character now, but Black Tom's always been kind of on the edge. So I think it's an interesting relationship. I also do wonder, anytime I see the frame being, I'm going to tell you a story about something that's happening, can we wonder if Banshee is actually telling the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth here, right?
Just to make himself look better,
or just to, Black Tom's in prison. Let's entertain him by telling him a good story.
Yeah, I actually felt like this was all just a ruse to break him out of jail. I don't know how that's going to play in, but
I don't see Banshee as breaking Tom out of jail, but we'll see. And I don't know how prison works. I don't know about you, Ruben. Have you ever been to prison? You like gladiator movies. That goes a whole different way.
Yeah, I'm calling you from prison right now, right?
Oh, that explains the noise in the background. Hey, Jim, you got to deal with that.
Yeah, no, I have not been in prison, fortunately. I'm a good boy.
Beat the rap, huh? Good for you. But yeah, I see Black Tom taking the call here, and he's dressed up in his prison orange jumpsuit. Whenever I see a number in a panel, like an ID number or a license plate number, I always try to figure out, does that mean something? Is it a hidden reference? And his prisoner number is 11997. And I tried to make that match up with like a first appearance or something like that, but I got nothing. Any idea what 1199, maybe January 19th, 97? I don't know what would happen then.
Yeah, or maybe it's letters. I don't want to try to figure that out.
And anybody who knows what that might be, let us know.
Yeah, I wasn't hung up on that so much as the fact that it seems like he's just in a standard prison with like handcuffs. And I was like, I don't know if that's actually going to stop Black Tom Cassidy and his powers, but
yeah, I mean, he kind of turned himself in at the end of that issue. And he's in, it says detention center in Brooklyn. So I don't know if that's more like a jail temporary holding area. Again, I'm not super familiar with the inner workings of the prison system.
I just felt like this security for a mutant was a little on the light side.
I mean, there could be power dampers up in the ceiling for all we know.
Okay, maybe. But they should have just, I don't know, they should have just done like the power dampeners over his hands, like that we've seen before, not a pair of regular handcuffs.
Band around his neck, something like that.
Yeah, something. So I would have believed that he was like in control.
He is
especially with the guard talking trash, right? The guard's talking a lot of trash to him.
Yeah.
So it doesn't seem like a place that's like pro-mutant, but I don't see anything really, I don't know, keeping him under control. You'd think they could have sent him to Grey Malkin. That would have been a nice little continuity piece.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been extra mean, though, because mutants, he was kind of turned in by the heroes, and he did kind of turn himself in at the end. So to then send him off to the tender mercies of warden/podcaster Corinna Ellis, that'd be pretty rough. I mean, especially since Banshee knows that his daughter's there, right? Because he saw her and the whole Hellfire situation, right?
Yeah, but do you really get an opportunity to say, like, I want this person stored at this location?
I mean, Captain America was involved in that story, right? And if Captain America
he gets to say, yeah.
I think so. I think he has that rank. Okay, anyway, so let's get into the story that Banshee tells Tom. The story is about a character named Changeling. Now, Ruben, you familiar with good old Mr. Changeling?
No, this was like one of those like deep cuts where I was just like, okay, I'll take your word for it.
This is quite a thing. Let me tell you about Changeling. He's a very old character, goes back to 1967. So not a Stan and Jack character, a little bit after that, created by Roy Thomas and Werner Roth. And as a 1960s character, has a very silly costume, big clunky headgear that Banshee calls a purple gravy boat helmet. Looks very silly. His real name is Kevin Sidney. His power is shape-shifting to impersonate other humans or humanoids. And he started out as a villain before reforming and joining the X-Men team. So again, like Black Tom and like Banshee himself. So I think that's kind of part of the meta text of this story. But he's even more well known for being involved in one of the earliest major Marvel, or at least X-Men retcons. Now, Professor X was seen to die heroically in X-Men number 42, 1968. But then 2 years later, in X-Men number 65, it's revealed / retconned that Professor X had been alive the whole time. It was Changeling impersonating the Professor who died in issue number 42, which means that retroactively, Changeling is the first member of the X-Men to die in the line of duty.
So that's brutal.
And also, Changeling was the inspiration for the character of Morph in the X-Men animated TV show.
Yeah, okay.
And of course, years after the TV show, Morph would show up in the comics under Brian Michael Bendis. So very complicated metatextual stuff going on here.
That's pretty cool, because at the end of this, we see Morph as well. So
Morph does show up.
I guess in a weird way, that's kind of neat to have the character your character's based on in the same issue.
Yeah, Tim Seeley's definitely playing with stuff here. So that's the backstory. In this story, the one Banshee tells Black Tom, Banshee and his team of X-Men over there in Ireland learn from Cyclops that Changeling has been spotted in the U.S., quote, after his time in Krakoa. So we get to assume that Changeling was resurrected on Krakoa, and we just never saw him. Reasonably enough, you can do that with any dead character ever, because that's how Krakoa works. Banshee is very suspicious of Changeling. I mean, Changeling, in his first villainous appearance, did some really bad stuff involving Banshee, so Banshee's going to be skeptical. Banshee and his team spy on Changeling when he's on a first date, which is pretty creepy. Banshee says that he's just teaching Husk and Skin how to do a stakeout, but, he's just being a creeper.
Well, he didn't know why. I mean, he got the information from Cyclops, right, that this guy's back.
Yeah.
And he's out doing some stuff, and so they went to go see what he was doing. And then,
I guess it turns out that he was correct to do so, but it still felt creepy to me to spy on a date.
Okay. Well, it wasn't like he knew he was going on a date. It was just like, hey, I need to go spy on this guy to see what he's up to.
Okay.
I guess I'm Banshee. Okay. I guess I'm pro Banshee here. Yeah.
Apparently.
All right.
Because it turns out that you and Banshee are correct to do so, because the date just so happens to be a guard at Fort Knox. Now that felt very blast from the past. You don't see a lot of Fort Knox references in comics these days, right? That feels very 1970s. That's what Lex Luthor is going to be after in the Silver Age.
Yeah,
so,
I did kind of laugh about that.
And exactly what Changeling is after is also kind of vague, and also makes me wonder if this story is real. But Changeling in the story just wants to observe this date long enough so that he can effectively impersonate her, presumably for something nefarious. So the next day, the team portals into Fort Knox. You'd think there'd be anti-teleport technology there, but not so much. Now they portal in, they see that Changeling has already arrived, came in early disguised as that guard, and Banshee tells Tom that Changeling spouts some very cliche anti-capitalism kind of rhetoric. And again, I don't know if that's real or is that, Banshee laying it on thick for Black Tom.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. Just
because the dialogue feels very unnatural. It could be because Changeling's an old-fashioned character, or it could be Banshee doing some shenanigans. So we get a fist fight, and surprisingly, Changeling is winning against all three X-Men, right? Not using any powers or tech here. We're just told he's really good at fist fighting, and he's like beating up Banshee and Husk and Skin all together.
Yeah, I did laugh at that part. I was like, is this something we're just supposed to know, that this character is like an amazing fist fighter? But
he's not shown using like karate moves and things. He's just, bare knuckle brawling, and it's working. I don't know why Banshee can't use any of his sonic powers.
I guess he
Skin
hasn't been
doesn't
practicing.
use any of his wrap him up in the skin situation.
Yeah, I would think that he would practice, right? I mean, that was the whole thing about the Danger Room for a while, that it was like, an opportunity to practice these kinds of activities, but I guess not.
Which again makes me wonder if Banshee is telling a tale here. Maybe I'm being too skeptical, but it makes me curious.
Yeah.
So it seems like Changeling is going to win the fight and get away, but then a hashtag shadowy figure intervenes, beats up Changeling off panel. All we see are Batman-style sound effects. And on the final cliffhanger, it is revealed, yes, Ruben, the character who came to the rescue here is Morph, that animated character inspired by Changeling. And as far as I can tell, Morph hasn't appeared in the comics since Generation X in 2018, although the animated show was revived last year and was very popular, so I'm thinking that's probably what inspired Tim Seeley to bring back Morph. So very much up in the air what's really happening here, right? We never see Morph and Changeling together. Is this Changeling impersonating Morph? Is it Morph impersonating Changeling? Is it two of them? Is Banshee just telling the truth or telling his story? Nothing that's ever happened.
Yeah, there's some parts that felt like Tall Tale-ish, especially the part where it's a shadow and then you see Changeling like getting pulled into the shadow and like just looks weird. But maybe that's just the art, the way they decided to depict it. But it felt like it was unclear because you can imagine in a Tall Tale he's like, and then something happened. Dun dun dun. It was.
I mean, from Banshee's point of view, he could have been, punched in the face and knocked over and just not seen what was going on. Yeah. But having I guess actually, though, if I look at it, though, he is looking directly at Changeling at the time, so he should be able to see. Very much a clear choice to not show the two characters together. That's got to be deliberate. So I'm kind of into this. I'm curious what's happening. I'm enjoying the metatextual, retconny, referencey things. Cool idea for an Infinity comic, bringing back some old characters. I always like first issues, first chapters. I'm usually disappointed by the final chapters. I think the final chapters lately have been kind of lackluster. So let's hope that let's hope Tim Seeley has a good idea that he can not just set up, but also knock down at the end. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm excited. It's interesting. A story with two shapeshifters, I think, has an opportunity to be intriguing. So I'm interested to see where this goes. But yeah, it's a good use. It's more interesting than the last story we had. I'll say that.
All they need to do is bring Mystique in now. Have all three of them go. That would be great.
In a way, that would be pretty great. I would think that's pretty awesome. All the shape changers.
Let's hope Tim Seeley has permission to use Mystique, because that would be a lot of fun. All right, that's the Infinity comic. Now moving on to Uncanny X-Men number 19, Legacy number 719, Skin Condition. Unfortunately, nothing to do with Angelo Espinosa. Totally different skin condition. It is written by prolific tweeter and occasional comic book writer Gail Simone, art by David Marquez, colors by Matthew Wilson, and letters, of course, by Clayton Coles. This issue, I was kind of surprised, Ruben. It does not pick up on a whole lot from last issue.
Yeah, it really feels like treading water in my mind.
Where's Mutina? I was expecting even if Mutina's bubbling in the background, there's no Mutina in this at all. Nothing about the group who set fire to that kids' hospital, who was the big action set piece from last issue. We do follow up with Mayor Mickey, who was in charge of the whole, friendship festival situation. And then we end with kind of a Jubilee semi-solo mission. So it's really kind of a collection of short scenes, some okay, some less okay. No unity as an issue, as a story. Just kind of here's some stuff, which can be all right. But
yeah,
this case, not the greatest.
Yeah.
So we start off with 3 pages of the Grey Malkin folks at the diner. First characters we see are Corinna Ellis and Captain Ezra. Just after dawn, and for undisclosed reasons, Dr. Ellis is she heading out to an event, or is she returning home from an event? Can you tell? They don't really say.
It seems like she's coming back from somewhere, but yeah, they don't say. I'm not 100% sure on that.
And by kind of an extraordinary coincidence, they just so happen to stop at that all-star diner while something nefarious is going on. Now, this diner is the restaurant where Uva works. She's the mutant girl with zebra skin. We first met her in the diner in the 2024 Free Comic Book Day issue, right before From the Ashes officially began, and then Sentinels popped into here as well in one issue.
Yeah.
So Ellis and Ezra hit the All-Star Diner for coffee and a muffin. Lights are on in the diner, door is unlocked, there's 2 other cars in the parking lot. Uva, the waitress, tries to tell them, "Oh, we're closed." But Warden Ellis is not used to taking no for an answer, pushes through, convinces Uva to give them some dang coffee and a muffin. Actually, Captain Ezra gets tea because he's a gentleman. Uva's clearly terrified about something. She even makes the mutant Midnight M sign to Dr. Ellis, which is a pretty desperate choice to make.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
Well, I think it's just because she is so desperate. I mean, we see her shaking with the coffee. I really kind of appreciate how David Marquez gets Uva's emotions across here, right?
Mm-hmm.
That she can't speak about what's going on, but just even not only her face, but her posture is just terrified. And I think getting that across in the visuals is a nice touch. Dr. Ellis picks up on this. The captain doesn't for some reason. Like he's focused on his tea.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Ellis's response is just to get up, take the muffin, and go. Ruben, is this a dine and dash? Does Dr. Ellis pay for her coffee and muffin? Maybe it happens between panels. Let's assume she leaves some money there. I don't know.
Yeah, I think she's just the jerk that just doesn't pay.
Add that theft to her long line of crimes we've seen her commit.
Yeah, because she seems to realize that like something's going on here, right? And she doesn't care to deal with it.
She does take the muffin. So, oh well. So, back out in the parking lot, Ellis explains to Captain Ezra that, she thinks the other restaurant employees and Uva are being held hostage by like 4 assailants. I don't know where she gets that detail from, right? Did she see something we don't see? How does she put that together? I don't know.
Yeah, the number 4 is strange. It just kind of is given to you.
Yeah, I mean, if she says, something's up, maybe there's a hostage situation, I'd buy that. But 4 assailants,
very
little
particular.
Too specific, unless Karina Ellis either has some ability we don't know about or there's some detail we were meant to see, but they forgot to show us. So Captain Ezra says, hey, I got all these weapons and, pepper spray things here. Maybe I go in and solve the problem. But Dr. Ellis says, hey, not our problem. Maybe, this mutant kid, maybe her getting killed wouldn't be the worst thing. Don't think we're supposed to like Dr. Ellis very much.
Yeah, she has a strange perspective. I mean, she just, I guess, hates mutants. That's what we're just supposed to take from this. Because I thought she would be like pro law and order. But it seems like she's doing this because she wants the bad thing to happen to the mutant. Is that what we're supposed to take from this?
Captain Ezra is more of a professional pro law and order. And Ellis, we've seen some of her backstory.
I mean, she has the nasty podcast, so I guess we know that she's
can't
just
trust those
hater.
Podcasters.
Yeah,
for sure. So, and before we leave this scene, we confirm that Dr. Ellis is very much correct. We see an unknown #shadowy figure behind Uva, pointing a gun at her head. This person says they want some damn pie while they're waiting. So they're definitely waiting for something. And Uva is told to turn the sign off so nobody else stops in thinking the place is open.
Yeah.
Now, Ruben, I don't know about the diner culture in Louisiana or the Pacific Northwest, but where I come from, if something's called a diner, that kind of presumes it's going to be open 24/7. That's just what a diner means.
Yeah, I don't think we're that serious.
Okay. That's a New Jersey thing.
Yeah.
New Jersey, we don't close our diners. Because I'm thinking that even if the sign's not lit up, people are going to start stopping in. And Ruben, do you know who particularly almost stereotypically likes coffee and muffins and donuts maybe at a diner in the morning?
I don't know. You tell me.
How about police officers?
Oh, yeah.
So I'm thinking that even if you don't call the cops are going to come in anyway. But that's not what the story wants to happen. So that's not what's going to happen. But that's what I would think. Just if you're at a diner, police are going to stop by. It's part of the deal.
It's pretty funny.
But not here. Okay, we move on to the Uncannys. The adult Uncannys are at City Hall for a meeting with Mayor Mickey. Get a few pleasantries, and then the mayor unveils the reason she's invited them there. She wants to create a new planned neighborhood development she calls the Uncannny Village. And Ruben, the ideas she has for it are just so tacky.
Yes.
Very, very I mean, even like relative to New Orleans, which is not the most subtle, refined place in the world. No offense, New Orleanians. Pretty tacky. She's got a little model of it. Kind of neat. Like there's going to be a little train going through. The building.
Are you familiar with Disney Springs?
Oh, I've heard of it. I think I've seen a YouTube video about it. It's like, was that the residence? It actually was like condos or something at Disney in Florida?
Yeah, it's like shopping centers. It's basically like an outdoor shopping mall, but it's like Disney inspired. When I looked at this, I was like, this is just Disney Springs. Like it looks exactly like it.
Yeah,
made me laugh.
I'm sure that's what the inspiration might have been. You can't mention that because it is, Marvel owned by Disney now, but there you go. So like there's going to be a family restaurant with German food and trampolines. That seems like a bad combo. Called Nightcrawlers. Mm-hmm. I mean, fill the kids up with, bratwurst and schnitzel and have them jump up and down for a while. That seems problematic to me. Then there's a dance venue called Jubilee's Jump and Jive, also tacky. And the reason this place exists is that, Gail Simone wants the mayor to tell Nightcrawler that he, quote, tests alarmingly well with young women and gay men. And then the mayor tells Rogue that she tests well with both horny men and horny women.
Yes.
So, I mean, the mayor says this, right? You test really well with horny men and horny women. So this page was already circulating on social media before the comic went on sale. That's why this page exists. Gail Simone being very Gail Simone and writing for the hot internet clicks.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the idea that the city might want to make use of the X-Men for economic redevelopment purposes, not the worst idea ever. I could see that. I mean, the whole relationship between mutants and humans, and do they hate us? Do they want to exploit us? That seems like a vein that you could tell some good stories about, but I don't think this is being presented very well here. It's just, it's just social media clout hacking. Anything else you want to say about this development?
Nope.
All right. From here, we cut to Haven House. Get a pretty sweet character scene. Gambit's cats, well, they love Hotaru. They don't want to get off his lap. And he doesn't know how to deal with them, how to make this happen. And as a person who's had a cockatoo on my arm who didn't want to leave, I could really sympathize with Hotaru here. You don't know how to deal with these things sometimes. So eventually, say again, Ruben?
Oh, just laughing.
I still have a scar on my left pinky, the shape of a cockatoo beak. Not a coincidence. I've gotten much better at dealing with cockatoos, but animals you're not familiar with, it can be a weird experience. But Jitter and Ransom, they know cats much better than Hotaru does. They swoop in, take the cats off of him, and Ransom calls Hotaru his, quote, little brother, which makes Hotaru very emotional. He doesn't really know how to deal with this. He likes it. He's never been a little brother before. Sweet scene. What did you think of this little character stuff?
He's a lot nicer than I am.
Which one, Hotaru or Ransom?
Hotaru. I just would have been like, what the hell are you calling me? I'm not your brother, dude. Like we could be friends, got it. But
you can see where Hotaru's coming from, right? Given his weird background.
I guess. I don't know. He's super awkward, but it's all right.
Although the idea that the Outliers are kind of siblings, like adoptive siblings, it's kind of uncomfortable with the relationship going on between Calico and Jitter, because they're very much not siblings.
Yes.
Right. So I think that's why these were on separate pages, right? We don't mention these two are brothers, those two not sisters. Okay, now we get the issue's pointless fight scene. As breakfast is being prepared there at Haven House, we see Waffles, who was that dog sentinel who became the kid's pet. Waffles runs out of the house and attacks somebody who's out there, who was Deadpool, which, very reasonable thing for the dog to do. I endorse his actions. You see Deadpool, you attack Deadpool. It's what you do.
Yeah.
Outlaw is there with Deadpool as well. She's that cowgirl character who showed up to help at the hospital fire last issue, though they never mentioned that she was there last issue. Weird. She steps in, grabs the robo-dog, tosses it like, I don't know, a quarter mile away. So now we get a fight scene between the Outliers on one side, Deadpool and Outlaw on the other. I did like the funny bit where Deadpool says he's not caught up on From the Ashes, and he mistakes Death Dream for Bronze. I chuckled at that. I thought that was pretty good. Calico, here's where Calico calls Jitter her girlfriend, and another kind of made for social media panel. Again, Calico, to me, has like the maturity level of like a 6-year-old, kind of creepy. But again, that's a me problem. Death Dream comes up big in this fight. Outlaw attacked his creepy pet dog, and that makes Death Dream go all nightmares and tendrils. Still don't really know exactly what his power is besides be really creepy and have ghosts, but it looks super impressive on the page. I think this is kind of art-wise the best that David Marquez is doing here. What do you think of this look of Hotaru's powers? I think it looks pretty amazing.
Yeah, his powers look cool. I still don't really know exactly what's going on, but it's like weird, mystical powers of death, but I don't know. But it looks neat. It certainly looks cool. Like all the shadows flying out of him and weird monstrous creatures.
Yeah, they're dragging Outlaw away, and I don't know if they're just like dragging her physically, they dragging her off to hell. I could be interpreted a lot of different ways. I think probably they want to keep his powers vague for some future writer or future story to talk about. Eventually, the adult Uncannies return back home from their meeting, put an end to all of this. The next bit is a little convoluted. Deadpool and Outlaw say they were hired by some rich kids to keep the Uncannies busy while the rich kids took over that diner. But Deadpool says, I wasn't going to do that. I was going to double-cross those rich kids. I was just going to tell you what was really going on. But instead of like sending a text, which I think Outlaw even mentions, they show up on the doorstep, sparking that pointless fight scene. Which I know that's very much a well-loved, well-worn comic tradition. Either this was a particularly dumb example of the pointless fight scene. Also, Ruben, I don't understand the rich kids' plan. They want revenge on Jubilee for blowing up their car in the Free Comic Book Day story. And so they take the diner waitress hostage. How were they planning on even letting Jubilee know this happened? What's their end game here? Jubilee shows up, and then what happens?
Yeah.
Well, also, just the escalation here from rich kid bullies who want to pick on a poor mutant kid to full-on terrorist hostage takers. Hell of a jump, right?
Yeah. This thing is just where the story falls apart in my mind.
Yeah.
Because they say we're supposed to keep you occupied. Like, why? It's not like the diner's like in their backyard.
Right. And if how
you
would they
just
have
take
known
over
the
the
first
diner.
place?
Who cares, right?
You really need to hire somebody to tell Jubilee, we've taken your friend hostage. Now you have to deal with it.
Yeah.
It's just weird. I wonder if this was written a different way originally and they had to try to tweak it and something was lost in translation.
Yeah. I think they were saying it was like to keep Jubilee away from the diner while they took over. But like, to your point, why?
Why would she have been going there and they need her to go there eventually? Very weird.
Yeah.
So Ruben, naturally...
Maybe we were supposed to see like 5 issues of Jubilee hanging out at the diner. Like that it was a place that she normally went.
That if it had been established that she goes there for her morning coffee and muffin or whatever, that'd make perfect sense.
That would have made way more sense. But
just
the way
one
it is.
mention in an earlier issue. Oh well, that's the thing about monthly storytelling. Like if you're writing a whole novel and you get a good idea, you can go back and put in foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that with monthly comics. Oh well, I should have foreshadowed. So Ruben, here at this point, naturally, the Uncannys do the smart thing, right? And they call the police. And they say, oh, there's a kid being held hostage at this diner. Here's the address.
No.
Do they do that?
No, of course not.
Do they do the second smartest thing and they all go together with overwhelming force, make sure nobody gets hurt?
Yeah, of course not.
They don't do that. What do they do?
No, Jubilee basically is like, I've got to make a point that I'm tough, even though everybody thinks I'm just the fireworks girl. So I'm going to go in, solo these chumps with the guns and hope everything works out okay.
Yeah, risking poor Uva's life there to show off a little bit, which I don't like that. Also, did you notice that Gambit is using that Eye of Agamotto as like his basic method of transportation now?
Yeah, no, I saw that. It cracked me up when he teleports and like you've got Nightcrawler teleporting on his own. I'm just kind of like, okay, dude, like, do you really, you've got a literal teleporter. His whole job back in the day was to like move the team from point A to point B.
And when he's coming back home to Haven House, it's not like he knows there's a fight going on, there's an emergency, got to get there quickly. Yeah. This is just how he gets around, it seems.
Yeah.
It's also how he sends Jubilee to the diner, which, okay, that's fine. She has to get there quickly, but I'm wondering if this is setting up he's using it too much. I'm hoping this is for a payoff down the road, maybe connected with that whole who gets to be Sorcerer Supreme sim.
Isn't it supposed to make him like murderous zombie?
It wants to make him like eat the flesh of his loved ones.
Yeah, exactly.
At least that's what the dragon says, and the dragon may be lying. Okay, now we get a second semi-pointless fight scene where Jubilee shows up at the diner, and she defeats the rich bullies handily. So now she hands the criminals over to the police, right? Mm-hmm. So they can be punished in a court of law according to the way things should be.
I also want to say, like, Gail Simone obviously doesn't know anything about the law because when the kid's like, oh, I lost my inheritance, like, it doesn't work that way. When you're a blood relative of somebody, you can get a, like, statutory... Yeah, you get, like, a minimum amount, like, of the estate. So that part just also irked me, but it's okay.
Yeah, but he should go to jail. He should go to prison. He should be there next to Black Tom when in handcuffs talking on the phone. Yeah. Because, I mean, we can't even say, well... He attacked mutants and, mutants don't get protection here. They're in New Orleans, which is the most mutant-friendly place in the entire country as far as we know. They had the whole festival. They want to build a whole development. The mayor herself is super pro-mutant. So you can't say, oh, they would be let off scot-free here.
Right.
But instead of having that happen, we're told that Gambit is going to use his Eye of Agamotto, again, to send the bully to the Savage Land.
Yeah, I was like, it was kind of murder.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, that does have to be eaten by dinosaurs. That'd be good.
I'm pretty sure we don't just fly criminals out to like deserted islands and drop them off, right? Because it's inhumane, but I don't
But
know.
this
I was
is
like,
a
are they
rich
going to
kid,
ask?
Ruben. We don't like the rich kids.
Are they going to ask Khazar to whatever, however you say his name, to like keep tabs on him just so he learns a lesson?
I don't think so. I don't know. So yeah, this was not a great issue. I am kind of happy to see Uva again. I would like to see her show up in an issue where she's not getting picked on, right? She's
The
just
character
kind of the
design's
punching
pretty
bag,
cool.
sad sack. Yeah, she looks neat.
Yeah. Art wise, I'm like, this is a character I would like to see develop into something that's not a sad sack, but we'll see.
She has a whole thing where she tells people that she's not a mutant. She just has a skin condition. And her mother told her to say that. And is that because her mother hates mutants, or is that just her mother trying to protect her daughter? There could be a fun dynamic there, something kind of deep, right?
Well,
maybe almost like a reflection of Calico. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say Calico can like mentor her in the future. That would make sense.
Calico can't mentor a puppy. She's, anyway, that's my thing about Calico. She seems kind of like a little kid, but maybe the other way around. The two of them together may be able to help each other out. I'd like to see that. And yeah, this does, like we've been saying a bit, feels kind of like filling time before Age of Revelation. Gail Simone has, time on her hands. She gets very, very Gail Simone about things, which I know she has her fans. Some readers love this stuff. People really want to pass around some of those pages. But I like her when she's more story-focused and less, hey, check out these hot internet clicks kind of focused.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know about that. I mean, she seems to drop these types of pages and panels in, so it didn't irk me so much, but this definitely feels like a filler issue, and I felt like the last one was a filler issue, and maybe even the one before that. So this is like 3 filler issues in a row.
And there's 2 more before Age of Revelation starts.
Yeah, it's like a little bit too much. I felt like they probably should have done like one.
There was time to do something.
Important series. Like you could have wrapped up a good storyline, right, leading into it.
Yeah,
but felt like for whatever reason she just didn't want to do that.
So art-wise, I enjoyed it. Again, I like what David Marquez did with Uva. I like what he did with Hotaru and those panels of him being all deathy and creepy. A couple of the comedy type pages, he makes those exaggerated, almost comic strip type faces, which is not my favorite thing. Not objectively bad, it's a choice. Not my favorite. But yeah, I'd like to see some more of Hotaru's powers in a more serious fight than just, an accidental fight between him and 2 goofballs. So yeah, I enjoyed it all right, that stuff. I'm going to give this whole thing, call it a 5.8 out of 10. Not so great. It had some cool moments, but overall, pretty skippable. How about you?
Yeah, I'm going to say 5.2. The art's the only reason I don't just give it a straight 5. I hated it. Yeah. It started out okay. Like, I'm always happy to see Karina Ellis. She's, I think, an interesting character.
Yeah, we need more of her for sure.
That scene, like, it started out kind of like, oh, she's a really jerk character. Like, I liked all that. And then it just kind of like, as soon as Deadpool showed up from that point forward, it just fell apart for me.
Yeah, we do have, like I said, 2 more issues of Uncannny before Age of Revelation. And that looks like it's going to be a 2-issue arc featuring Logan and Ransom kind of teaming up together for an adventure in Argentina. Could be fun. They're a good pair. We'll see what happens when that comes up next time. But first, we are going to talk about Hellverine number 9, Legacy number 13, Hellbent, written by Benjamin Percy, art by Raphael Ienco, colors by Brian Valenza, letters by Travis Lanham. Now, this does unfortunately look like it's probably the penultimate issue of this series, Ruben.
Yeah.
That makes me a little sad. Although Akihiro does appear on the cover and in the solicit for the Age of Revelation book, Laura Kinney's Sabretooth number 2.
Cool.
So we'll be seeing our boy Akihiro again. And on the cover, he does have the hot claws, Ruben. So we were wondering what's going to be done with this character at the end of this miniseries.
Yeah.
Looks like he's still kind of Hellverined up as far as we can tell.
Yeah. The big surprise for me was the fact that his little crew is not dead.
That was shocking because we
really?
played taps for them basically last and we RIP'd them. They looked so dead.
Townsend and Doden.
And we're going to have another case of that in Storm coming up. We have a lot of people who really were torn in half, but are somehow still alive. I guess in the 616, being torn in half is just, not that bad a deal. Very, very survivable. So this is the Hell Hulk story. I don't really see Hell Hulk in this issue until the very last page. Last we saw, the Hell Hulk was being transported out of town in the back of a heavy metal-style truck driven by Severith, who's the guy who created Hell Hulk. Hell Hulk went all kind of kablooey in hell, and Severith got in trouble with Mephisto. And the recap for this issue says that Severith's goal is to take revenge on Mephisto, which I hadn't quite picked up from the story so far, but it is confirmed later on in this issue. I do hate it when information is given to us for the first time in recaps. Right? Maybe I missed it. Maybe it was laid out and I should have picked up on it. But for me, that was, oh, is that what he's up to? So this issue jumps forward a week from where we left off. And we get a look at the news to kind of get us caught up, which is a reasonable technique to use. We get the TV news, tells us that there were hundreds of car accidents in and around Washington, D.C. Then a newspaper front page tells us that there were thousands dead in Wild Night.
Yeah.
Thousands, Ruben. That's a lot.
Yeah.
You
When
think
I read
the Avengers would come in at that point.
Yeah. When I saw that, I was just like, this is cool, but you'd expect to see a reference to this in anything else, right? Like, oh, by the way, like some stuff's going on with like a demonic Hulk running around, but there's no way this is the only place it's going to show up. So
I'm okay with it. Just again, the goofy tone of this book makes me forgive it some things that I wouldn't forgive a more serious book, and maybe that's me being soft on it, but I'm okay. I just think it's funny. It's worth pointing out, and they haven't seen this Hell Hulk mostly. I think most of this damage was just he has an influence on the minds of humans, and I think just the truck driving past all these people made them crazed and out of control and start killing each other. So I think that's mostly what happened.
Yeah.
And then we get a third news source, some sort of like internet, social media maybe, which shows a picture of Akihiro in full Hellverine mode, and the narration box says, oh, this is the guy who's responsible. So, I mean, that's a conclusion I'd jump to, too. If I saw death and destruction and a guy on a flaming motorcycle with flaming claws and a skull for a head, maybe that's me being bigoted, but I'd probably blame that guy.
Yeah, that's fine. I didn't find it particularly
a well-worn comic trope. You know, Spider-Man gets blamed for things that his villains do, threaten and menace. I'm fine with that. Now we get a meeting at the Pentagon, which, boy, the higher-ups of the Pentagon are mighty annoyed at these thousands of deaths, Ruben.
Yes.
And they say, this is the last straw. You got one more chance. Okay, thousands of deaths, you're on probation, right? Yes. We're not going to shut you down now, but one more screw-up. You know, you accidentally hired a demon from hell. You accidentally reassembled hell's greatest ever weapon and set it loose and killed thousands of people, but we'll give you one more chance.
Yes. I mean, this was so goofy that I loved it. It was just ridiculous, but also hilarious.
I mean, how do you lose your funding in the government? You just don't.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Or it's like, oh, man. Yeah. We'll shutter Project Hellfire.
One more chance. So, okay, now we go to Project Hellfire headquarters, which, of course, are underneath Arlington National Cemetery, to clean up the mess that Severith and Hell Hulk made when they escaped. And yeah, Ruben, this is where I was astonished to see that Townsend and Doden both still alive, right, they're already kind of undead, so at least they're not dead.
Yeah.
Doden had been torn clean in half. Townsend had been impaled on a spike, which, again, I think I put this in the Slack. This is the second time in this short series where someone survives being fully impaled on a spike. Right? You got the Japanese villager in the first arc, and we have Townsend now. Like being torn in half or being impaled through the gut on a spike so that you're dangling in the air, both completely survive.
Yeah, it's not a big deal.
Not a big deal. It happens to me all the time. You know, you're clumsy, you trip, things happen. 1,000,000 to 1 shot, Doc.
Yeah.
Now, Akihiro and Dr. Spivey, they poke around in Severith's bedroom there in the headquarters. And look, this bedroom is amazing, especially since these headquarters have only been in place, a couple months?
Yes.
He has this huge bed, this huge bookshelves, and multiple armchairs. Pretty cool setup.
Yeah, their government's doing pretty good in the 616, right? To be able to fund this kind of nonsense.
Well, we know they're not funding S.H.I.E.L.D. This must be where all the S.H.I.E.L.D. money is going. Right? Because we learned that in Mystique. S.H.I.E.L.D. is really hurting for dough. They can't even have 3D holographic displays anymore. They have to print stuff out on paper. So here, Dr. Spivey accidentally triggers Severith's computer security system, which is naturally an actual demon leaping out of the computer screen. Akihiro hot claws it to death. Again, completely appropriate for the characters. Very funny. Akihiro lies down in Severith's bed, which just feels icky. He uses his infernal sense to see what he can pick up. Akihiro says, quote, "The place where we sleep is the place where our anxieties and fears find us." Pretty good line, actually. I like that. Akihiro sees here a vision of Severith being punished by Mephisto for the failure of Hellhulk back in Hell the first time. Pretty creepy images. Severith missing an arm, all these knives sticking out of him, evil black chains, and he's being dipped in magma. I'm not a heavy metal guy, but, if this were on a heavy metal album cover, I'd say it looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'd paint this on the side of my van and airbrush it. So Akihiro figures out what I learned from the recap, that Severith is out for revenge against Mephisto, which, on the surface, maybe you say, hey, I hate both you guys. Let's have you both beat up on each other for a while.
Yeah.
Except Severith's plan is to lure Mephisto into our world, where we're told Mephisto will be weaker than on his home turf. Is that established, Ruben? Mephisto is weaker here in our world?
Yeah, I don't know much about Mephisto.
It makes sense. In his own domain, he's super strong. Here, he's slightly less strong.
Yeah.
Plausible. But yeah, that would be bad news for whatever part of the world that happens in. And if Severith were to kill off Mephisto, what would that even mean? Right? Which we're going to talk about more about this kind of stuff in Storm, where some people creatures or characters get killed. We go, what does that mean? But here we're worried about that. So in this twist here, Akihiro is kind of out to save Mephisto. Pretty good twist. Now Akihiro goes up into Arlington, and this is a strange scene, Ruben. Did you even recognize who this character was at first, who he meets here?
Oh, yeah, it's Aurora from Alpha Flight, also from X Factor, the Krakoa era X Factor.
Oh, you read that one?
I did not read it, but I was aware that they had created some kind of relationship between them.
I had skipped that book, and if I ever knew about this relationship, I forgot about it because I had to go and do some wiki diving to get up to speed.
Yeah.
Yep, this is Aurora, Jean-Marie Bobier, sister of North Star, mutant, member of Alpha Flight, and back in X Factor and Krakoa, the Leo Williams book, they were an item. So Aurora is, reasonably enough, mad at Akihiro for not letting her know that he's alive, or at least not quite dead anymore, because last she knew, he had been murdered to death by Sabretooth up at Krakoa further north. But really, she's here because Ben Percy needs to come up with a reason for Akihiro to do some stuff to make the story happen. And so she shows up on one page, and like 2 pages later, she's taken hostage by the bad guys. Which this is the part that makes me think, is Ben Percy kind of rushing towards a conclusion that maybe he didn't want to get to quite so soon? Because if you wanted her hostage taking to be a big thing, you really should introduce her at least an issue or two beforehand, don't you think? So, she's here for that to happen. She flies off to scout out the area where Akihiro is sure that Severith will be laying his trap, which is Hell's Backbone, Utah, location that dates back to the very start of this Hellverine thing, back when it was a crossover arc of Ben Percy's Wolverine run. And Percy has established that the line between Earth and Hell is particularly thin here. Makes sense for this to be an important place. Aurora flies off to investigate. Akihiro lets her go alone. She doesn't come back. Oops. So Akihiro jumps on the back of his Hell Harley, drives from Washington, D.C. out to Hell's Backbone, Utah in like 17 minutes, because that's how this motorcycle works. And when he gets there, he sees a cave entrance made out of naked dead bodies. And he's a smart guy, so he figures out, this must be the place.
Yeah.
I could have figured that out. Again, very silly, goofy, very heavy metal looking thing. A narration box tells us the gate was built with hell magic, which, I could have figured that out. Mm-hmm. And also, anyone who enters won't be able to exit. So like a demonic roach motel. Clearly that's going to be important in the next issue. You can't leave.
Mm-hmm.
Now we end up in this pocket dimension, a pocket dimension of hell. A lot of pocket dimensions this week. So it has creepy hell things going on, giant snake eating its own tail, gas station with a corpse hanging from the back of a tow truck, hell stuff.
Yeah.
We get some mumbo jumbo about it's being a locus of suffering and how it'll attract demons and Mephisto.
Yeah.
I think that'd be kind of harder to manipulate Mephisto, but I'm no Severith, he would know better. Akihiro walks into the hellish gas station's hellish convenience store. Don't want to see the bathroom in there. And inside, he sees Aurora, except it's not really Aurora, it's Mephisto. And Mephisto has taken Aurora hostage, and he wants Akihiro to help him stop Severith and Hellhulk.
Yeah.
What exactly that means, how they're going to do it, that'll have to wait for the 10th, presumably final issue of the series. Although, Ruben, in the very last panel, it does say to be continued.
I know, I was looking for to be concluded.
Yeah. I checked that right away, and maybe it isn't concluded. I mean, maybe this comes back after Age of Revelation.
Yep.
Hey, I'd read it. Why not? I have not seen an official cancellation, but again, they're using Age of Revelation, I think, to just say everything's changed. And at the end of Age of Revelation, whatever that is, they can start things up or not start things back up however they want.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a goofy, over-the-top, gory book. I still had a lot of fun with it. I thought that the Aurora plot device was kind of lame. I get why Ben Percy does it, but it wasn't done very smoothly. I'm still mostly okay with it. This is not a story where I take anything all that seriously. I enjoy the goofy, gory, death, heavy metal art. Again, not a necessary book. There's no reason to read this unless you just have a good time with its weird stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give it a 7.3 out of 10. How about you?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, comics are supposed to be fun, right?
That's what they tell me.
Yeah. So I don't know. You're probably right. That's probably the right score for it, but I loved it. So I'll just
give it what you feel in your heart, Ruben.
Give it from my heart an 8.
All right,
but,
8.
Yeah, which is, it doesn't deserve an 8, but in my heart it's an 8. And
without the Aurora thing, I would have been around an 8. I thought that was just a little bit too clunky for me.
Too clunky. I also need to know that Ben Percy is in on the joke. Like, if he's not, we've said this before.
I've had this discussion with Jim multiple times. He's got to be, Ruben. He's got to be.
He has to be. There's no way he thinks this is like high art or anything. But we'll see.
It's almost that tension, if he's in on the joke or not, that kind of adds to the experience, I think. So
yeah.
Don't tell us, Ben Percy. Keep us in suspense. Okay, we ready to move on to our final issue of the week?
Sure.
Let's do it. This is Storm number 11, Legacy number 22, Thunder War Rises. Written by Morewa Ayodele, art by Mario Santoro with CF Villa, colors by Fer Cifuentes Sujo with Alex Guimarães, and letters by Travis Lanham, all by himself. So I found this book, especially my first read, Ruben, really hard to understand. I guess you seem to be in the same boat, at least when we chatted on Slack, right?
Yes, I had no idea what was going on.
So I did go back last night and I reread the entire run of this volume, which it does help.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a kind of story that makes more sense. It's more intelligible, more fun when you read it straight through, rather than every month I'd go, what the hell was happening in this book again? And I wouldn't be quite up to speed. I think it works better like in trade or as read straight through.
That's good to hear because I am so confused by this story.
Don't get me wrong. I still have some major questions, but it is more sense read straight through. We got a lot going on. The big picture, or like the biggest of big pictures, is that this guy named Hadad, the original storm god, he wants to destroy the whole universe, which would be bad, Ruben, because that's where I keep all my stuff. In a separate parallel conflict, Storm is now the host of Eternity. Eternity was challenged by Oblivion to a one-on-one, winner-take-literally-all fight. Storm did not know that Eternity had done this. She did know that she was blacking out for periods of time, and then, like, for instance, waking up to find a cosmic entity imprisoned at her Storm Sanctuary that she didn't remember putting there. So she knows stuff is up. But now that fight with Oblivion seems very, very moot now, because Hadad went and killed Oblivion, whatever that means, before the fight could even happen. So the whole reason for Eternity to be hosting himself inside Storm no longer applies. Now, towards the end of the last issue, we had several important things happening. Number one, we had that alien/occult arm of the US FBI attacking Storm's allies, seemingly killing both Maggot and Manifold. Well, that turns out to be more complicated. Number two, before those FBI jerks could attack Storm directly, and it's still weird they didn't go after her first, but before they did go after Storm, they were disrupted by Silver Surfer and Galactus falling to Earth right next to them. Number three, Infinity shows up looking for her brother Eternity. There was a whole thing set up that Oblivion was sad because his sister Death wasn't around anymore, and he wants to be back with Death. So this cosmic force brother, sister, or sibling teams not wanting to be apart. That's a theme we've seen before, so that's a resonance I liked. Infinity is the reason Galactus crashed here, so it's not a total coincidence. Infinity saved him and the Surfer from the Black Winters, and then she beat up on those guys, and they told her that Storm is connected with Eternity. I don't know how they knew, But that's why Infinity is here to talk to Storm and figure out, hey, where's my brother? That's a lot to deal with. But first, let's lay on another layer because we're going to visit a place called, I'm going to say, I have no idea how to say this. It's like Hajem Spiti.
Mm.
This is a new invention by Iodele. Hasn't been in Marvel Comics before. Caption tells us it's, quote, a neutral realm for all pantheons. So like an interfaith center on a college campus is what I get. All of the world's storm gods are here, and they're debating what to do about Hadad. Some of them want to support Storm, Aurora, and it's confusing because they are storm gods, and she's Storm, the storm god. So I'm going to try to call her Aurora to keep things a little more comprehensible.
Okay.
Some of them want to support Aurora against Hadad. Others say, well, Hadad's going to win anyway. He's tougher than anybody, so let's be on his side and not get killed.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple interesting things going on here. The representative of the Asgardian gods, the storm god of Asgard, is Beta Ray Bill. And he's about the only god there who wants to fight Hadad.
Is that because Thor is the Odin's son now, or like in charge?
I haven't been reading the Thor book. Something weird's going on there. Yeah. I know coming up next week, the title of that book, it's still Al Ewing writing it, but the title changes to a new #1 called The Mortal Thor. No M, just mortal. So he's
he was like accused of murder or something. Yeah.
I haven't been reading, don't know the details, but I guess they called in Beta Ray Bill to be the thunder god.
Okay.
Also, the storm god running this debate is described in a narration box as, quote, the newly resurrected Zeus. I don't know when Zeus died. Is that also a Thor thing, maybe?
Must be, yeah.
Must be.
Zeus? I don't know. I don't know where Zeus comes from. He's not Odin.
I don't know where he's been appearing in Marvel books where he would have died. I could not find an explanation about that in my usual sources. Okay, another thing, one of the gods, the one who's wearing this like flat conical hat that looks like a crash symbol, he says of Aurora that, quote, we exerted pressure and heat, hoping the carbon would harden to diamond. Do you think that what was going on in South America when some of the storm gods attacked Aurora? Were they trying to strengthen her for this fight? Were they fighting on Hadad's behalf? I still don't really know why she was attacked there.
Trying to get her stronger to fight.
Maybe. But you think they'd say something then about that.
Yeah.
Now, kind of this whole debate turns out to be pointless as the Black Winters attack the meeting place of the gods. We cut away before we see exactly who lives and who dies, but it seems pretty messy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we get a brief peek at Galactus. He's alive, seems to have gotten the cosmic wind knocked out of him.
Yeah, this is the part that's so weird. I was like, what the hell's going on here? This is where it really lost me.
This is a semi-comedic page, which I don't mind tone shifts, but in the midst of this super serious cosmic story, this page feels kind of out of place. They're in Madripoor, but these appear to be, I think, U.S. government agents who are attacking him with flying syringes, sucking out, siphoning out. I don't know what goo was inside Galactus. I'm sure it has some sort of properties they want to use.
Yeah.
Bishop jumps in to defend the Galactus, and he chases the agents off and apparently shoots one of them to death. It appears to kill one of them here on page 11. He shoots him. I see blood spurting out of the guy's neck. I'm no doctor, but that's usually not a good sign when you've been shot in the neck and blood spurts out.
No, yeah.
Meanwhile, Storm is fighting Infinity, and she's winning, Ruben, which feels dumb to even say, but that's what this book has come to, Storm fighting Infinity and winning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is even without making use of Eternity's power. It's just Storm herself. The narration boxes here tell us that Storm has always been super duper ultra omega powerful, but that she'd always held back from using her full power because, Ruben, she didn't want to wreck the whole planet. So she was just holding back this whole time for all the decades that Storm has been on the X-Men, always held back. And now she's not holding back. And now I'm confused because now she knows that it was Eternity who's been possessing her.
Yeah.
Maybe she figured that out because Infinity shows up looking for Eternity. I needed one dialogue balloon, one panel of her putting that together rather than just last issue she doesn't know, this issue she knows everything. I need that transition to be explained. And now we get the most confusing page of the issue, the one I posted on Slack saying, hey, anybody know what's going on here? And I got crickets. Yeah, that was what everyone said, because I guess either nobody's reading this and or nobody knows what's going on. So we have Storm talking to Infinity and saying, quote, "Your brother Eternity possessed my body against my will," which is true. Don't know how she knows it, but true. "And then made me watch with my own eyes while he decimated my loved ones with my abilities." And this is over a panel showing an Eternity-possessed Storm looking down at a fallen figure. And at first I thought that fallen figure was Iceman because he's covered with ice. And I'm like, when did Storm fight Iceman?
Yep.
But maybe it's just some random schmuck who got encased in ice by Storm's weather powers. Whichever way, I don't know when this happened.
Yeah.
And Storm was not watching through her own eyes what Eternity was doing because she was blacked out and didn't remember. So it feels like, we've said this before with this comic, it feels like we're missing an issue.
Yeah.
So in any event, Storm is about to murder Infinity to death, whatever that would even mean, to have Infinity die in the universe. She's only stopped by Galactus, who tells her to stop being so emotional. Hey, all you married guys out there, is that a good thing to do when you've got an angry woman on your hands? Tell her, stop being so emotional. Ruben, does that work for you usually? Have you tried this technique?
Yeah, it works in my house really well.
Try that out, folks. Get back to us. Let us know how it works. But Galactus has Jaden with him. Jaden's that mutant kid who accidentally created the giant explosion that set things off in issue 1. Jaden tells Storm that murdering Infinity would be bad, and so Storm stops trying to murder Infinity. We don't see really what Infinity does next. I guess we see her later in the issue a little bit. So that's a crazy scene, Ruben. Ayodele is certainly swinging for the fences. He's not afraid to bring in the heavy hitters. Now we go back to that night and day hospital that Storm visited after she got radiation poisoned. I love this panel of Galactus just hanging out outside the hospital, the same size as the hospital, just sitting there, kind of sitting, used to say Indian style, I guess now cross-legged, we got to say.
Yeah.
Very, just a cool panel. Galactus is stupidly big. He's just kind of chilling out. Do you think Galactus is being treated here by the Doctor? Because we know Dr. Day is a stickler. He only treats you if you've kind of paid into the system.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking Galactus and Surfer are just, they're out of network. They don't get to get treated here. They have to pay full sticker price.
I think Galactus has the money. He can afford it.
Could be. So inside, we see that Maggot is in a drawer with a toe tag. Okay, so he's dead. Manifold, though, is being operated on. They got oxygen mask over his face and everything, so I guess he's still alive, Ruben?
Sure.
He was chopped in half, Ruben. He was at the belt line. He was in 2 pieces. Mm-hmm. Guts hanging out and everything. So once again, being chopped in half, not always fatal in the 616. Gateway had transported those 2 out of the battle, and Gateway's hanging out here at the hospital as well. Okay, Storm is also at the hospital. Now she's in self-recrimination mode, blames herself for getting emotional, blames herself for not studying more magic with Dr. Voodoo, which she was with him for like 5 minutes, so I don't know what that's about. I don't think they've interacted before. She hasn't been a student. Weird. Blames herself for not protecting Maggot and Manifold, blames herself for not accepting help from others, and Ruben, now is when Gateway actually speaks, which doesn't happen very much. He's usually a silent character. We've called him often being used more as a plot device than a character at all. But here, he touches Storm on her forehead and says, quote, "Shape a better future, Aurora Monroe. Shape a better universe." And then white light shoots out of Aurora's eyes and mouth. What is going on? Is Gateway doing something to her? I don't get it. What's going on?
Yeah.
Explain it to me while I drink some tea.
No, I'm not going to explain it to you because it's completely nonsense. It's just stuff happens. You tell me that this made more sense reading it as like a whole, but I still struggle to believe that.
I didn't say a lot. I said more.
Okay, fair enough. But it's just it's a lot.
I don't know what Gateway is doing. I can say that, okay, Eternity is leaving Storm's body now because the whole point of it is moot. Mm-hmm. I don't know what that has to do with what Gateway can do. I don't think Gateway should be able to order Eternity to exit. I don't think that's his thing.
Yeah.
But okay, a few more bits before we wrap this up. We go to the House of Ideas, Ruben, which is the home of Marvel's God above all gods, the one above all, who sometimes is modeled on Jack Kirby. Here is just kind of your standard naked glowing like Dr. Manhattan, but yellow and bigger.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why these powerful figures are always naked, but there you go. Eternity is here, reinforcing the idea that he left Storm's body, and he says to the one above all, quote, I have come to bargain for the fate of the universe. Presumably this has to do with Hadad, because in the flashback original story that I think Silver Surfer told us, we saw that the one above all was the only one who stopped Hadad the first time around. Now we drop in on the White Hot Room. Now that was kind of a surprise. We see Black Winters attacking here, and Jean Grey defending against them. And Ruben, I've read that at one point, I think Iodelli said this in an interview. There was supposed to be, or plans to be, a crossover between Phoenix and Storm.
Interesting. Yeah.
So this was going to be a relic of that, which it makes sense. I mean, a few issues ago in Phoenix, Jean was trying to get into the White Hot Room, knew that something was up with the White Hot Room.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see like the stubs where that crossover would have happened, but I guess Phoenix got sidetracked into sister things.
Yeah.
We also have a couple panels of somewhere called the Land of Couldn't Be, Shouldn't Be. Very silly name, like Never Neverland.
Mm-hmm.
This is a place created by Al Ewing in a 2014 Silver Surfer title, and that's kind of all I know about it. I started going down that rabbit hole, too silly for me. But it seems to be connected with the idea of magic and creativity, I think is all we need to know. It's being attacked by Black Winters as well, being defended by the Scarlet Witch and somebody called the Never Queen. And I think all we need to know from this page is that the Black Winters are attacking like all over, various planes of existence. It's cosmic in scale.
Yeah.
On the very last page, Silver Surfer lays out the plan going forward. Surfer, Galactus, Infinity, and her avatar Quasar, love to see a Quasar appearance, they're going to hold off the Black Winters. And Storm, while this is going on, she'll fight Hadad one-on-one, because she's Storm, she's the most powerful being ever. Surfer doesn't know what Eternity is up to, so presumably Eternity bringing in the one above all will also be like a surprise to this group. Next issue, issue number 12, is the final issue of Storm before Age of Revelation, so whatever is going to happen, kind of got to happen next issue. So that is the issue, Ruben. Does it make perfect sense to you now that I've explained it?
Absolutely. Right. Yeah, I totally get it. Very clear.
The plot of this book is wild. It feels like this should be like the climax of a multi-title line-wide crossover, like almost a Crisis on Infinite Earths kind of a level.
Yeah.
But having it all take place in this one monthly title with none of this mentioned anywhere else makes it's hard to justify it being as big and huge as Iodelli wants us to take it as.
Yeah.
And I've said this before, having just upping Storm's power level to these stupidly high levels just doesn't, excuse me. Oh boy, goodness. Jim is not going to edit that out. I know he won't. Having her be this powerful, I like her being a powerful Omega level mutant, but not where she can beat up Infinity and Hadad.
Yeah, me neither.
It's just not my vision of the character.
Yeah. I liked her better on like X-Men Red because I could get what was happening.
Yeah.
And she still felt pretty damn powerful, right?
Absolutely. Powerful and regal and commanding respect and attention, but not Infinity level.
Yeah.
Also, Hadad, not a great villain. Barely a character. Like we've said about Gateway, he's a plot device. He's this big bad out there who needs to be stopped, but we've seen him say like 3 words ever. Gotta give Iodelli credit for taking a big swing though, right? We complain about books where nothing happens, where characters sit around eating brunch and just talking about their feelings. That's not a problem here, right? We have Storm fighting Infinity and winning, the characters dying, Storm Gods fighting Black Winters, micro crossovers with Phoenix and Scarlet Witch. So I gotta give Iodelli credit for trying something big, right? I like that. Art-wise, Lucas Wernick is not on the book anymore, which is a bummer, because his art is the best that was going on in Big Two Comics to me anywhere. This is still good. It's still above average, like well above average, but it's not the tippy top it used to be. I do like the gathering of Storm Gods. I do like Galactus sitting cross-legged next to the hospital. So still, the art is a plus. So not my kind of book, Ruben. I want to give it credit for being confident in what it's trying to do. Even if the storytelling has some gaps I'd like to get filled in, I'm going to be probably pretty generous and give this a 7 out of 10.
Oh, man. Yeah.
I know you're way lower than that. I know you are.
The art is still cool. But yeah, I can't give it more than, oh God. You know what?
Be honest.
Screw
Give it
it.
what you feel.
Art. Yeah, I'm just giving it a 4. And that's 100% art.
I understand where you're coming from.
God, I just hate it. But maybe if I read all of it, it would have made sense by the time I read it. But
when you read all of it, you kind of get into the mode of storytelling Ayodele is going for. And you just kind of like ride the roller coaster and go, oh, here's another crazy thing. Oh, here's another crazy thing. And the crazy things kind of link up a little better. Or the foreshadowing he does with the Silver Surfer earlier on, you can kind of see where that's paying off now. Where at the time we're like, what the hell is this even here for?
Yeah.
So there is a unity to the story. And just some of the gaps in storytelling, I really wish you'd filled in. Okay, that was the last book that we were going to talk about today. So let's look ahead for next week. Next week we have, looks like just 2 books, Ruben, so a little bit less than this week. We have X-Men number 20, which is a Cyclops-centered book and also connected to ONE, and I forget what the guy that Cyclops has been dealing with the Office of National Emergency before. I think they're going to get into a little bit of a fight. We like Cyclops. That could be good.
Yeah.
And then we have Giant Size X-Men number 2, Ruben. Really, truly, actually, the final issue of the Kamala Khan Giant Size event. Yeah. Really, gosh, I hope so, coming out next week. Also, the end for now of Lansing and Kelly at Marvel, because they're moving on after this. So we do get to wrap that up. I'm guessing we're going to like X-Men better than the Giant Size, but we will, as always, read them and tell you what we think. Okay, Ruben, my voice is giving out on me. I am out of tea. So why don't you take us home and let us know what our listeners should be doing for the next week.
Well, what they do always, which is read more X-Men comics.
Get ready, everyone, and you just might survive. Ruben and Jason are here with their X-Men deep dive. Going through all the X-books is their mission, so get ready for the Learn edition. Things are getting weird in here. Ruben hopes another sword book gets announced this year. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind. It's the Weird Dose of X, the X-Men comic show. It's the Weird Dose of X, guaranteed not to blow, except your mind.
I like it, though. I listen to it every week.